Kimmi, I'd like to give you the opportunity to respond to a headline. A sad case of a man. Love and Marriage Huntsville fans slam Maurice for demanding intimacy while Kimmi goes through chemotherapy. Kimmi, what is your response to the backlash that Maurice has been getting lately?
So he has never forced me to do one single thing. He has never made me. He has never implied he was going to leave me. So the headlines, in order to get likes and tags, I absolutely get it.
Maurice Scott and Kimmi Scott were once seen as one of the most stable, mature couples on reality TV. The kind of couple people pointed to and said, "See, that's how it's supposed to be done." Calm, collected, and seemingly unshakable. But lately, that image has started to crack, and what's slipping through those cracks is something fans never expected. Whispers of divorce, tension behind closed doors, and even rumors of a possible court battle brewing in the background. Because what happens when the couple who looked the strongest suddenly starts moving in silence? When the smiles feel forced, the distance grows wider, and the truth starts leaking out in pieces. That's exactly where Maurice and Kimmi find themselves right now. And the deeper you look, the more it feels like this isn't just a rough patch, it might be the beginning of something much bigger.
You guys could have more meetings together.
Meeting for what?
Kiowa said that she wants to be more present. And then maybe you guys could work through all of that stuff that y'all had historically, working out you guys past or whatever.
I don't have past to work out.
Just even if let's just discuss it, get it off the table,
no
maybe.
reason to.
And
for years, Maurice and Kimmi built a relationship that looked solid from the outside. When they appeared on Love and Marriage Huntsville, they carried themselves differently from the chaos surrounding other couples. While arguments, cheating rumors, and emotional breakdowns seemed to follow everyone else, Maurice and Kimmi often came across as grounded and mature. They weren't loud, they didn't seem messy, they handled conflict with what looked like logic and patience. Kimmi especially earned a lot of respect from viewers. She was strong, independent, and balanced. She had her own career, her own identity, and didn't seem like someone who would tolerate nonsense. People admired her for that. And Maurice? He positioned himself as a devoted husband, someone who had learned from his past and was doing things the right way this time. But here's the thing about appearances. They don't always tell the full story. Maurice's past has always had a few unanswered questions. Before Kimmi, he was married to his ex-wife, Kiwa. And while the story presented on the show suggested everything was cleanly ended before he moved on, not everyone has agreed with that timeline. There were always quiet murmurs suggesting overlap, that maybe things weren't as neatly wrapped up as they seemed. At the time, those whispers didn't gain too much traction. After all, Maurice and Kimmi seemed stable. And when a couple looks stable, people don't dig too deep. They want to believe in the image being presented. But over time, little cracks began to show. There were moments, small, almost easy to miss, where Maurice's words didn't fully line up. Conversations where his tone shifted, or where he seemed just a little too defensive. And then there were his comments about relationships and loyalty, especially when talking with his brother. Some viewers started to feel like Maurice's definition of commitment might not be as strict as Kimmi's.
Recent episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville, Maurice unfortunately got a DUI. You didn't realize that he wasn't home until the wee hours in the morning. And a lot of people were asking well, why is Kimmi okay with her husband leaving an event, hey Tisha, leaving an event and...
Still, nothing was ever confirmed. No solid proof, no undeniable moment that changed everything. Just a growing sense that something wasn't sitting right. And then, things started getting louder. Recently, rumors have been circulating that Maurice and Kimmi's marriage is under serious strain. Not just the usual reality TV drama, but something deeper, something real. And what's really catching people's attention isn't just the idea of trouble, it's the possibility of a divorce and even legal tension behind the scenes.
But here's the twist. Neither Maurice nor Kimmi has come out and clearly addressed any of it. And that silence, it's speaking volumes. Because when a couple that usually communicates openly suddenly goes quiet, people notice. Fans started picking up on changes, body language on screen, less interaction online, fewer moments that felt genuine. It's like the connection that once seemed so natural is now being carefully managed. And then came the allegations. There have been whispers that things between Maurice and Kimmi may have escalated beyond just emotional distance. Some sources claim that arguments have become more intense, more personal, that disagreements aren't being resolved the way they used to be. And in some cases, people close to the situation have hinted that legal conversations may have already started.
Do things for you, let you know that they're doing it for you. They don't let you find out later on, oh wow, you were actually hurting or you were going through something and you were sharing that. And you were doing it for me.
Now, let's be clear, nothing has been officially confirmed, but in the world of reality TV, where leaks and insider information tend to surface eventually, these kinds of rumors don't just appear out of nowhere. Some reports suggest that financial disagreements could be playing a role. Others hint at trust issues resurfacing, questions about loyalty, honesty, and whether everything in the marriage has been as transparent as it should be. And then there's the idea of a potential court battle. That's what really has people talking. Because divorce is one thing, but when legal involvement enters the conversation, it suggests something more complicated, something that isn't being handled quietly behind closed doors. It raises questions about assets, responsibilities, and possibly even past decisions that are now being brought back into the light. What nobody expected was for Kimmi to remain this quiet. Kimmi has always been someone who speaks her mind. She doesn't shy away from tough conversations. She's faced health challenges, family dynamics, and public scrutiny with strength and honesty. So for her to step back and say almost nothing while all these rumors swirl, that's unusual. Some fans believe she's protecting her peace, that she's choosing not to feed into speculation and is handling things privately. And honestly, that would make sense. Not everything needs to be public. But others think there's more to it. They believe the silence might be strategic, that Kimmi could be taking time to figure out her next move. Because if the allegations about a possible divorce or legal situation are even partially true, then this isn't something you respond to emotionally. It's something you plan carefully. And then there's Maurice. He hasn't exactly cleared things up either. While he's continued to maintain a public presence, he hasn't directly addressed the rumors in a way that puts them to rest, and that's only adding fuel to the fire. Because when both sides stay quiet, people start filling in the blanks themselves. Some fans are starting to revisit old moments from the show, looking at past conversations, past reactions, and wondering if the signs were always there. Was Maurice really as committed as he claimed? Was Kimmi ignoring red flags, or was she genuinely unaware of certain things?
And then there's the emotional side of it all. Because beyond the rumors, the speculation, and the headlines, there are real people involved. A real marriage, a real history, years of building something together that now seems uncertain. If things are truly falling apart, it's not just about public image, it's about personal pain. Imagine being in Kimmi's position, standing by your partner, supporting him, building a life together, only to have everything questioned in front of the world. Every decision, every moment, every choice picked apart by strangers who don't know the full story. And for Maurice, if the allegations aren't true, then he's facing a different kind of pressure, being judged, criticized, and possibly misunderstood on a massive scale. But if there is truth behind the rumors, then he's dealing with the consequences of decisions that could change everything. Either way, it's heavy.
And what makes it even more complicated is the public nature of their relationship. This isn't happening in private. It's unfolding in front of cameras, on social media, in conversations between fans who feel emotionally invested in their story. Every look, every post, every silence, it all gets analyzed. And right now, the analysis isn't looking good. There's a growing sense that something has shifted permanently, that even if Maurice and Kimmi try to work things out, things may never go back to what they once were. Because trust, once shaken, is hard to rebuild. And when you add public pressure on top of that, it becomes even harder. Some fans are still holding on to hope. They believe this could just be a rough season in their marriage, that with time, communication, and effort, they can find their way back to each other.
But others aren't so sure. They think this might be the beginning of the end. And if that's true, then the next chapter could be one of the most difficult ones yet. Not just for Maurice and Kimmi, but for everyone who believed in them. Because sometimes the couples we think are the strongest are the ones carrying the most behind closed doors. And sometimes the silence we hear isn't peace. It's the sound of something breaking, slowly and quietly. So now, all eyes are on Maurice and Kimmi, waiting, watching, trying to understand what's really happening behind the scenes. Is this just a moment of pressure that they'll overcome? Or is this the unraveling of a marriage that once seemed unshakable? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the truth has a way of coming out, and when it does, it rarely leaves things the same.